Well, I think the biggest challenge is always about people. I think for leaders and city managers, they need to understand the people who are working for them. Especially for in 21st centuries, there are going to be a lot of young people willing to engage in community work, wanting to work for the local government. For me, the best leadership is to create a condition for people to perform.
Well, the major challenges for all of us who are in the public administration, public sector space are dealing with these complex, very large interdisciplinary issues. And so we're going to have to figure out how to work through, how do we bring together multi-sector, multidisciplinary action to deal with issues like sustainability, like dealing with the issues of food safety, all of the kinds of things that transcend the boundaries we normally think of will be the biggest challenge for those of us who work in the public sector.
For communities, I believe that leadership challenges really are coming down to questions about what the community is. There's a lot of discussion about, is that your neighborhood, is that your township, city, or is it the whole region? I think that there's lots of important issues, but maybe that's one that doesn't get as much attention, is thinking about what is the community and what are different levels for service delivery, where should decisions be made, where is accountability.
I think sustainable development is the greatest challenge for the coming years. For so long we've been focused on other things in kind of a natural mode, but the scientists are indicating to us that we need to be thinking long term, and if we don't, there are going to impacts that are going to happen, particularly if we do not change the way in which we develop our cities. So China has a wonderful opportunity to perhaps look at some of the mistakes that we've done and not necessarily focus on the negative aspects that we sometimes think are characteristic of China, such as a bicycle economy. We're trying to shoehorn bicycles into our development in North American cities, whereas in China they're coming from that. So maybe they don't have to go down the same roads that we have. And we see in China, in countries such as China and in our own country, that we have to question the way in which we're going to develop with a perspective of thinking of our grandchildren and what we're going to leave behind for them.
I think the biggest challenge for leadership today is really facilitating collaboration amongst cultures, amongst different generations, and that requires significant understanding with amongst everybody. There's a significant gap between the Gen Y and the next generation and even the baby boomers, and that alone requires a significant level of understanding.
I think leadership, whether it's political leadership or managerial leadership, is facing a very difficult time, a time of uncertainty, a time where people are concerned about the future as well as optimistic sometimes about the future. And I think that you're going to need a leadership that can connect with people, that can give them a narrative, a story that helps them move into that future with confidence and is able to make bold change, but to take people with you on that journey.
You see, I think the biggest challenge definitely is to involve citizens in the design of the services we produce in the local authorities. Citizens are a resource that we haven't yet learned to involve and benefit from. I think in Denmark we are now trying to digitalize most of our services, and to do this the best way we have to involve the citizens very early in the process to make them formulate for us how to do the best design so they can serve themselves over the net. Situation is in Denmark that we'll be the first country in the world that is only allowed to communicate with our citizens through digital media. There will be nowhere you can show up or you can come and ask your questions. It will only be digital communication. And to involve the citizen in this design process, that's really a challenge in Denmark, where I come from.
We live in a very rapidly evolving world. Change is the norm. Change happens very, very rapidly. And I think one of the biggest challenges actually is building capacities and creating an environment where people can actually thrive and be successful in a situation of change. That's probably the biggest piece. Global boundaries are changing. you know, a whole range of different philosophies, but at the end of the day, it's around quality of life for people and making things better. And the nice thing is that working in local government, we get to do that every single day.
I think the biggest challenges for leadership in the 21st century are to continue to engage the young emerging leaders of our profession and to give them an active role to play so that they feel fulfilled and have the opportunity to grow within their profession. We need to replace a lot of managers as they get older in the profession and are nearing retirement. There's a huge need for up-and-coming professionals with new ideas on sustainability and on leadership. So I think that's one of the biggest challenges that we have.
The biggest challenges we face as administrators in the 21st century is the ability to develop the necessary leadership tools to effectively manage the impacts that urbanization is having today, while at the same time ensuring that we're laying the foundation for our communities to be sustainable over the long haul.